So wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. So
And thank you for the reminder, Cindy. Whoosh, it was completely out of my head. So
so great to see you. So we're going to get this party started, and we understand that Susan has to keep her picture off and stay muted because there's some noise in her area, but she'll be listening and connecting through the chat with us. And so welcome everyone to the Warrior Sage Community Dojo. Happy to have you all here. So I want to get an idea of, have you all read the chapter? It was a short one this time. Anybody read the chapter?
Chapter 11, hint, hint.
I read the summary.
Okay,
That's all I got to. Was the summary. I'm eating my lunch because I had an unexpected client, so I'm just sort of arriving.
Okay.
So we had a summary, we had a no.
yeah, sorry. I read it in
Daniela
July.
is a no.
No, I was in the 5-day New World, New You challenge with Tony Robbins.
Beautiful. Maybe you can share some with us.
I'm still buzzing.
Yeah, that was cool. I saw a couple of that. So, okay, hi. Julia has not read it, but she's going to read the summary right now. Heidi haven't read it, but
I did read it in July, so I have read it, just not this week.
beautiful. Well,
Okay.
And does anyone have any thoughts or any questions or any shares to get going here?
Well, previous chapter 10, was a very powerful chapter that Jim led. Who was there? Yeah, Carrie, Daniela, awesome, good. How was that? Give us some hints of some pearls, what you remember you got from that conversation.
I'm gonna have to go backwards because I'm afraid it's been a week.
In 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks, but it was goals.
My memory.
What's going on is that the first 9 chapters were basic science, the concepts of reality transurfing. Now we're starting to apply them. So goals is one of the most powerful chapters, okay? And what we're gonna start doing is we're gonna start spicing it with some of these other concepts, like this time is all supposed to be about energy, right? Mm-hmm. So it should be fun, it should be easy to go over it, but because it should be applied on something, then it'll be great to go over some of the pearls from last meeting on goals and doors and everything else. So Carrie, tell us what you remember. The highlights of it. It'll be awesome to hear you speak.
From that chapter, the thing that resonated the most for me was the checking in. Is this your goal? Is this for you? Are these the clothes that are going to look good on you? So it's something that I actually have done throughout my life, as I do stop and I feel it and make sure it's mine and it does feel right and it's not to impress somebody or for some other sort of a reason. And having that heart check-in, I think, was the piece that I brought out of it the most. Like, even before I made this decision, I checked in with myself and also with some people who know and trust me. It's like, am I crazy? Is there anything that's not resonating? How does this feel? Just to make sure it's mine. And I was back in my house, my home of 26 years. My child was born in the living room, my second child. It's a pretty significant house, heart home. But today I was back there and I still love her. Obviously, she supported me and held me safe for so many years. But I was happy to come here, which I already feel like is home. So having that check-in, do these clothes fit me? Does that suit me? Walking around in the mall was the analogy that he gave. I feel like it is a really nice way to live intentionally and with good integrity to what's aligned.
Beautiful. So that was one of the most important concepts, practical concepts. Talk about practicality, because it reminds us on that chapter of mind and heart. Mm-hmm. The mind only operates with what we've learned. The heart knows.
Yeah, it does know.
The heart, the mind is just your operating system. It's at Apple or Microsoft, but by itself, there are limitations.
Mhm.
The heart is just beyond those things. It knows, right? So what you were saying is just one of the pearls of that chapter, right? Learn to listen, to connect with our heart, because he knows, what's good for you. I'll give you an example in my life. A lot of people ask me, should I get the COVID vaccine or not?
Mm.
It's a challenging question for a lot of people. And what I tell them is, look, I'll tell you this, the science of the vaccine is beautiful. It's amazing. No matter how you look at it, the science is amazing. That's one side. But on the other side is the disbelief and the fears about the vaccine. There's people that think about governments and manufacturing companies and interests. Plus, I'm afraid this and this and that. But those two sides of that decision are here.
Uh-huh.
One is beautiful science, the other one is fears and distrust, and you've heard that this happened and what happened with the vaccine. That's the head. So I always tell them, that could be even. Some people trust the vaccine and they'll go for it fully. Some people are so afraid or whatever, they won't go for it either way. It doesn't really matter. Some people are like, ooh, I don't know. And that's when you say, well, you know what? That's fine. That's the head. That's your brain. That's your mind. But there's a part that knows what's best for you. And that's where you just should relax. You recognize those things, which are important, but then you listen to the rustle of the morning stars. For those of you that have been following this, right? You listen. And you start saying, okay, I'm going to get the vaccine. And if you immediately start feeling this restlessness, there's something that you've known how to recognize it. Remember, now let's make a little pause. Remember where you've made decisions in the past that weren't good for you? Do you all remember making decisions that you know that you shouldn't have, right? Yep. You remember how that felt? You all knew that you shouldn't have made that decision, right? There's something somewhere, usually in the gut, right? Usually something. That's it. That's that call that you need to connect with and start to connect and listen to or feel into.
Mhm.
So that's what I tell anybody that asks me about it. Say, hey, I cannot tell you anymore about the science, and I cannot connect with your fears and disbeliefs and whatever else. They're all senseless discussions for all purposes.
Mhm.
But for you, because it's different from everybody, you should connect with that. And when you think about getting a shot like that, you feel all those things that tell you, ooh, that's a no.
Yeah.
Your heart will always, your heart, your soul will always tell you when it's not good for you. He won't always tell you when it's good for you, but for sure you can trust when it's not good for you, right? Is that a concept that we've all agreed to as we read the books? Right, Helen? There's a question or that's a share? You trust it, yeah. Thank you. So that's important. One of the most powerful concepts always to carry in life, as you were sharing, Carrie. You fell into it, it felt good, you knew that you needed to move into it. There was nothing here, And he reminds us too that as we're making that decision, the first thing is to listen, to connect with it. If there's peace, then you check with your head. Always check with the facts. Like, there are things that you must check, right? Because there's a reality. We're on this world with things. But if there's no imbalance here, then most likely that could be a go if there's no big problems up in terms of the reality check-ins that we do. So that fantastic catch and lovely in terms of choosing your goal. What's good for you, right? The other big thing, do you all have a goal, a juicy goal? Did you all choose a juicy goal as a result of your work on the past 2 weeks and reviewing the chapter on goals and doors? Helen, any?
I have not been around for a few months and I missed last month, but I set a goal a year ago to buy a house in Queensland.
Oh.
And my husband and I spent most of a year refining what we wanted on the list of things, and we needed to sell our house in order to buy up there. But the day that the house came up that we wanted to buy, I just knew it was our house. It ticked everything on our list, every single thing, and it had more. And it was just so easeful. And I just, as I've been thinking and feeling into that, I've just been feeling like the processing that I've been doing with the accelerated evolution processes has just cleared so much of that mind stuff that it just created the ease. So I resonate exactly with what you're saying. But, you know, this house came up and there were things that happened, like we had to have a COVID test to go and look at the house. We had to fly with masks on and stuff. And my heart just said, no, I know this is the right house. My husband can manage the 3.5 hours standing in the sun in the queue at the hospital to get his COVID test. I can't do that. So my heart just said, no. He flew, this is across the country, he flew to look at the house. The agent held selling the house until we were cleared for COVID and could go, and you know, everything just worked. But I had that strong heart response. No, I can't stand in a queue. I can't do the COVID test thing. And I just went with that decision, and I went with the faith that I already knew that this was the right house. It came up on the perfect day. It came up, you know, everything about it was just yes, 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 yes. So I'm moving into a house that I've never seen, but I can already feel that house. You know, I've seen it on video and I've seen it in the plans and everything, but I already know, I just knew, you know, it's just been such an exciting process to, for it to happen with that level of ease.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad I called on you, because I guess that's the perfect segue for the next few elements, right? So you had a goal, so juicy. You work on the ifs and buts and things, and you imagine yourself already, you already know what it is. So that's when you saw it, hey, you knew. But that's the beauty. The beauty of the ideal goal is that you just know how it feels once you have it, as you have it. That's the key word. A lot of us, when we don't know these concepts or we don't discuss them, we say, well, if I ever get that house that is pretty and big and comfortable and affordable, then I'll really be happy. Biggest no, right? We know this. That's the biggest no. We don't work like that, right? We know that we actually create whatever it is that we want, okay? And you brought very powerful concepts. We process the importance around it. Internal and external importance. The internal importance are my things. I'm not sure if I can afford it. I'm not sure if I'm worth it. I'm not sure if this is good for me. I'm not sure, blah, blah, blah. All these things that makes it small. I shouldn't go for that so big or too small or too fancy or the neighborhood or whatever. That's the me. That's the internal importance. Or the external importance. That's so huge. That's impossible. It's unreachable. I cannot afford it. That is so big. You know, that, you know. So we process those things. So then we can just step into that goal that we chose. And once we step into that goal, we just celebrate. We literally, in the case of the house, we act as we practice the slide. You remember the concept of the slide? We walk into it. It's a living 4D experience. You know, we could have it if we want with our eyes closed, open or closed. You know, but we essentially says, oh yeah, this is where I have my couch and that's my TV. And I love that fire pit there. And it feels so nice and comfy. And I hear the kids or my husband or the doggies or whatever it is that you want in your side. I hear them there. Oh gosh. And I love how they're playing outside, and my pool is perfect. And oh, I just imagine walking to, you know, it's just you enjoy it as it's already given. But always being aware of importance, right? Being aware of importance. Because whenever we start adding too much importance or dependence, some of those concepts that we've been reviewing over the past few months, okay? Oh, when that happens, I'll be happy. That's a no-no. is you already know that it's done, it's settled, there's no questions about it, right? And what are the concepts are around there? Well, in terms of choosing goals, the power of pendulums. Pendulum sometimes pushes to, well, doctors go into this neighborhood. Doctors don't go to that other neighborhood, for example, or I should be doing this or shouldn't be doing that because that's what's nice. That's what people, my friends want me to choose. You know, that's pendulums, right? Pushing stuff on us that is not our truth. It's not our truth. Or as you were mentioning, Carrie, going back to you, oh, I should wear this hat or wear this bag because that's what wealthy people do, or ladies like in my group do, or my church, or whatever they do. Those are not true. Those are not my true goals. Or goals are imposed by somebody else, some of the group, some of the belief. And that's what we need to be mindful when we play with goals. So that was pretty good. So money should never be a goal by itself, right? Whatever you want to have with money, whatever experience you want to enjoy from money is the way to go. And the door is just the path that you choose to get there. Once we are in that place of enjoying our goal, meaning playing our slide fully, then the how just happens. So the reminder is not to spend a lot of time on how am I going to achieve it? How am I going to pay for it? What are these scenarios to achieve that goal? Don't spend a lot of time on that. Mostly, start from that place of this is my goal, this is how it feels, and then the next concept is intention. Who wants to volunteer that very powerful concept? What is the intention to have? Daniela, you remember, Daniela? What is the intention to have? Just have you all quiet in that corner. Said, give it your best shot. It doesn't really matter. We're here to all learn.
I think that the intention is part of going from the heart to create or to receive the information for what you want to create. So, for example, if your goal is to manifest that perfect house that you want, so your intention is, to get the house, right? And to get there, then are your steps on how to create that. So I don't know. I think for me, the goal and intention, they're kind of the same thing, because you set the intention for the goal,
Right.
for a goal, and then you have the steps to achieve that goal.
Correct.
That's the mind part. It's the logistics, right, to get to that goal.
Thank you. So we first talked, Carrie brought us the point of knowing from the heart what we want, right? Knowing clearly, feeling into it. Then Helen brought out the feeling it, breaking the details, living into it, playing the slide. We talk a little bit about importance, right? Dropping importance. That's that energy that gets, all that energy that builds around wanting to achieve something, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So intention to have means the will to act, to have and then to act. So Helen just knew this is what she wanted. And she was working on it without any hesitation, no doubt, no restrictions about, remember, importance. I can't, or it's too big. She just moved and enjoyed and played. And what happens when you step into that intention to have? You manifest. Your vibrational energy from your mind and your heart are aligned. And that vibration, as she was telling us, or a Carrie for all purposes with her example, makes sure that where that slide is already manifested, those energy come together and starts to manifest. It starts to come to you with this, which is what Helen just explained, right? They work on this house, and now, the moment it appeared, that's what it is. every little detail just came up one after another, like in perfect harmony to manifest a goal. And the same thing with Carrie. So intention to have means a will, okay, to have it and then take action without any hesitation, dropping importance. And today, I guess we manifested a great guest. Satyen, it's great to have you here. Thank you. Thank you for
Welcome,
coming.
Satyen.
That's
So great to hear. You
It's
know,
okay.
it's so great to see you all. And, you know, first of all, I want to applaud Cindy and Juan and the other trainers who come in and hold the space, and Heidi. So let's give them a hand for this. They do this out of their heart to teach us, to help us stay together and to support our, you know, growth everywhere. Hey, Julia, nice to see you. Susan, you're in the background too.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's clapping.
So I just wanted to acknowledge and drop by today, and you'll be seeing more of me here and there as well in these gatherings. I'd love to pop in, but I had a meeting at this time, and it got rescheduled. The person couldn't make it, and I said, you know what, you're on here, and let me at least say hi and just give my love and my gratitude to our team and all of you who are part of this. So.
Thank
Any
you.
shares from anyone how this has been from Helen, Carrie, Julia, Susan, Daniela? Any shares, questions? Any expressions? Just how's this been?
There we go for it.
Hey, Carrie.
Huge gratitude to, as you mentioned, Sydney and Juan today, and Teresa and Jim on the other days, just guiding us through and holding us through this process is such a gift and a blessing. And I find myself drawing on the teachings at the strangest times. I was in a kayak in Desolation Sound, pulling Stuart Wilde's things into my mind to get through a difficult situation. And then as these guys know, I decided I wanted to move. I had the intention to find a new place. And this is our first meeting where I'm in my new place and my business is growing. Like everything just feels like it's unfolding and unfolding. And I'm getting out of the way. So it's just been an amazing process. Thank you all so much.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you, Carrie. Where are you? What part of the world?
I'm just down the road from you. I'm in Vancouver.
Okay, fantastic. So when we actually have a gathering here, physical, please come and visit us, okay?
Well, I met you in Squamish.
I know, I met you. You seem, this was when? Maybe
it was
2 years ago or so?
West Coast. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to connect some more, okay?
Great.
Okay, love, wonderful. How about you, Daniela? Anything you want to share and say hi about?
Yeah, hi Satyen. I'm in Squamish also.
The most beautiful place, right?
Yeah. We met a few times, and I was at your house when you hosted the relationship dojo.
That's right. That's right. So you're permanently in the video there on the training.
My claim to fame, right?
Beautiful. Well, nice to see you here, love. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
here.
it's great to see you again.
And you know, when all these COVID things open up and we're able to have more flow and gatherings, I'd love to see you all gather. You know, come on over. We'll have a nice sort of community retreat, you know, hangout and chance to connect, because the community is international, but just over here in BC, we have so many beautiful friends. So looking forward. Okay. Yeah. How about you, Helen? Anything you want to share?
I shared about my manifesting the house of my dreams just over the last year.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm moving from Melbourne to Queensland, to the southern Gold Coast in the beginning of March, but it all just was so easeful. It just fell into place, and it was an amazing experience. Despite, you know, COVID and all the restrictions and the things that are going on, we still, my husband and I just navigated this so amazingly, just following the energy of the whole thing. So yeah, I did a whole lot of expansion work in my energetic blueprint last year, and I did that alongside the accelerated evolution training, and it was just like the perfect marriage. Yes. Because I was able to let go so many things, and I actually have rekindled my relationship with my father. I now am getting on with him the best that I ever have in my life, and realizing where a lot of the stuff had come into my head about my father, you know, that a lot of untruths. And my sister, who has severe mental health issues, that's she's got a diagnosis and is on all sorts of medication. She's just shifted. She's just moved out of being this incredibly anxious person to being quite functional. And you know, the only thing I can think of is that I've been doing this stuff. And that's created the shift in my relationship with my dad, and in turn that's just cut so many of this crappy family stuff that's been floating out around in the ether. That so we don't actually really know what we're doing and what the consequences are going to be, but when things like this happen, it's just noticing and being grateful. I'm not seeing any causations or anything. I'm just saying, like, wow, this is the flow, this is the place. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Bravo, Helen. It's so beautiful to hear all of that.
Thank you.
Blessings, and wonderful to have you in our WarriorSage and Accelerated Evolution family. Julia, you there? You want to share something? I don't know if you can see or hear me.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Hey.
Hi. Hey, folks. Gee, what to share? I mean,
isn't she like, if you don't know, she's like super intelligent, okay? Like brilliant.
oh, go on with you. Why, thank you. Oh man, I guess the thing that's coming up for me, I am still reading the goals and doors chapter, is how it's starting to remind me of that whole, you know, before enlightenment, you know, the mountain looks like the mountain, and then, you know, something happens and all of a sudden you realize the mountain isn't the mountain, but then the mountain is the mountain again. I really like the emphasis on the, like, your door, like your goal is not somebody else's. And if a setback happens, like, cool. So yeah, it's landing in me in an interesting way, and I'm definitely going to want to reread it and re-listen to all of these.
I've read
talks.
Reality Transurfing front to cover, I don't know, at least a dozen times now. At least every sentence, every nuance, all the teachings you're going to, on this whole path of the Warrior Sage, we move through them in different energies, different aspects to grow ourselves holistically. But I use this as my foundation work for the CEOs I mentor and coach. And the same thing applied to one person can be applied to companies. And I'm training companies and they're booming. So the practices, the principles work. You just got to have ease with them, joy with them, keep the importance low. You've heard that 10,000 times, and keep the focus strong, you know? So
I love that.
Wonderful to see you, love.
So good to see you.
And then there's Susan, my longtime friend. How are you, love?
Yes, I come in and out. Lauren has been talking to me about the transurfing forever. So I thought, oh, well, it's time to load it and start looking at it. And then when I realized this group is doing that, I'm like, well, I need to join that. And what happens in between is my little grandbaby's always running around whenever I get her. So I'm going back from grandma to the coaching and all this too. So it's really great to be here and see you and everybody else.
Oh, love, good to see you too. And team, I'm not going to ask you, but I see you often. I wanted to say hi to our community members, and I want you to know I very much love you and grateful, and look forward to more and more expansion this year. You know, and please feel free to invite your friends. I'm just thinking, Carrie, I'm trying to. When was the event that
It was that Blessed Coast Festival.
Okay, but tell me the date. Can you remember the year?
So it wasn't on last year because of COVID, and I think it wasn't on the year before.
So the year before, right?
It must have been, yeah. And you took this awesome picture of me as I arrived. It's one of my favorites.
That's what I was remembering. I was like, I've taken a photo of you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic photo. And then we were down by the river and you were coaching some lovely young man. This young man walked up to you and you engaged with him. And he said something about, well, I really wish that, I had men who could mentor me or be a role. I can't remember. And you turned to him and you said, I'm here now. How can I help? And it was just the most beautiful, powerful moment. It was lovely.
Oh, thank you. Well, listen, email me, give her, Satyen at WarriorSage, and Daniela, you too. So whenever Satyen at WarriorSage, I'll keep that and I'll say my Squamish friends. And when I come out there, and I'll hit you up, and perhaps we can, all hang out there for, all right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm in the West End now, so anytime
And you're in West End and you're in Squamish. Okay.
I'm in
all right.
Squamish, yeah.
Email me your contact info and we'll stay in touch, okay?
Sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Satyen.
All right, community members, I love you. Be
Mm.
free. Keep your heart strong during these times, and we'll circle around soon, okay?
Thank you, Satyen.
Thanks for letting me drop in.
Mm.
All right, Juan, Cindy, Heidi, thanks for holding the space, and we'll see you all soon, okay?
Okay, great.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Good. So let's just take a deep breath in and just feel that, get that. You feel that love and that joy and that. Beautiful. I think this is the perfect segue again now for our chapter, the one that we kind of reviewed, right? Energy. Energy. So who feels like they're a little short of energy? What would you say your energy is? If this is your Zoom page, this is top energy, energy. Where would you say your energy goes? What's your range of energy? Whoa, Carrie. Whoa, Heidi. Okay. So you go all the way up to down.
Yeah.
Helen. Okay. Beautiful. Oh, Daniela, it's on the lower side. Okay. Thanks. Honesty is great. It doesn't matter where we are. Believe me, I always remember at the gym with my trainer. Some time ago, I couldn't do a darn pull-up. Oh boy, it was so frustrating when I saw everybody doing their nice, beautiful, incredible bodies pull-ups. And I always remember, it's not where I am, it's where I'm going, where am I heading, right? Remember all this stuff. So it's fine. So that's what we're gonna learn. We're gonna review. This is all things that we know somehow, right? So there are two basic forms of energy. One is the physiological energy, our body function, mitochondria on the body and what we eat and the calories that it gives us and how our body metabolizes it. And then we move, burn or not, and we act. That is one part of it. There's lots of science and energy about it, a lot of science about it. We're not going to dive into that one. We're going to dive into the energy that leads to manifestation. Okay. Because this whole book, Reality Transurfing, is about manifesting. So how could we manifest what we want, our goals, our dreams into reality? How do we manifest? How do we make things happen? Instead of working hard for what we want, remember, how is that called? You want to type it in the chat? When we work hard to achieve something, that is called when I work hard to manifest. Yeah, Julia, woohoo! Perfect. It doesn't matter. Mule, I like mule. Perfect. Yes, mule, work hard. That's inner intention. That's working. I'm working hard. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna study hard to pass the test. I'm gonna work 12 hours, because the more you work, the more money you make, because that's how you're successful. That's inner intention. That takes a lot of physiological energy. You have to stay there, and a lot of toughness and convincing yourself, and no sleep. You have to keep working. That's not the one we're talking about, even though it comes out handy. Most of us, we've used it for most of our lives. We're talking about the beauty. This is what we're working on, outer intention. And I'm glad don't feel bad about it. I'm glad I asked. This makes it fun, actually, right? Because then we remember. So outer intention is the art, is the magic. Is when whatever is that we want, like Helen or Carrie, for all purposes, that new place, that new home, we want this new home, and suddenly, poops, is there. That's what they call pop. It happens. That's outer intention. Anything that comes to our mind is already there someplace. We just don't know in which sector. What we're learning here through these weeks and months of practice and discussions, and shares, is how to what's the word? How to train, how to I cannot think of the word, but how to
Manifest.
yeah, how to manifest, but it's how to how you call it when you're really good at doing something, how to
Be
okay, whatever. So there is a way to achieve things. There is a path. We've been learning it. How to manifest those homes, how to manifest anything they want, incredible relationship, how to manifest health in other people. Helen, it was your doing. You change your life, everything in it changes. It's amazing, patterns of behavior. So the question is how to I cannot think of the word, but essentially is how to dominate, that sounds rough, the art of manifesting. That's what we're working on. Okay, become an expert. That's getting very closer to the word, and that's what we're working. So to manifest, we learn in the last session how to choose the right goal, how to make sure that we're listening to our heart, how we align that with our mind. Okay, to make sure then that vibration of what we want, that comes from our heart and is ours to take, essentially resonates with that area in the universe, as you call it, where it already exists, and makes it become reality and come to us with ease. Master, I like that, Carrie, thank you. How to master the art of manifesting, because there's a way to do it. And it involves all these different concepts that we've been drilling over time. Okay? But for that, a big element is the element of energy. Why do you think wizards can somehow wave their magic wand and poof, things happen? I'm using the plop today a lot. It's because it's like that. Because they have the wand. They have the energy that can make it happen. They do it without any fuss, without any importance. They just know they can do it. They just know they're themselves. They don't have to copy anybody else. That's the beauty of all those concepts that we've learned. But they have energy. So how do you harness that energy is the question. Is it something that I have to hold and use like a muscle? No. This is the beautiful thing. The energy is everywhere. It's surrounding us and it's in us. And the idea is not to grab it and say it's mine. And the more I accumulate, the stronger I get. No. The art is to know. The key is to understand that it's always inside us. Okay? It's always inside. And all we need to do is to let it in. And if you read the chapter, it tells you that I think the first paragraph is, don't try to accumulate it. Don't work so hard on how to secure it like we do with money, right? It's just let it in. Let it in. And it all comes to something called the meridians, the energy channels. And you may remember there are essentially that currents of whatever you want to call it, light, energy or so, that are in front of our spine. If you can imagine it, I tend to imagine it like hoses, like a hose that is in front of my spine. And they flow from the earth all the way up to the sky, if we want to use that as a reference. Okay. And it goes up and down inside ourselves. So it's like literally, if you're sitting right now, imagine something going all the way from the bottom, all the way up, coming up and down. And we all have access to that. Now, why thinking that it's just up and down and why a hose? Well, here comes the trick. What we're going to learn today is how to make that so big and so wide that you could just access as much or as little as you want at any given time. So when you feel that is flowing up and down, and it's inside you, you could just let it in. Anytime that you need something, you said, okay, pour something to whatever goal I want. then you could just wave your wand and magic happens. That's the big thing, the big keyword from mule to magician. Somehow, whatever you want starts to manifest with more and more and more ease as we master, that's the word, okay, the art of manifestation. Okay, so it's fascinating because then you start saying, ooh, so I have this energy. Yeah, the energy is everywhere. Would you all agree that the energy is everywhere? Everything is energy. There's no doubt about it. You know, the challenge is we all think that is, I'm this head and this body and I'm limited to this and what I know and what I say, you know, and what I can achieve and what I can afford and what I move and where I move, you know, and what I speak. But the moment you could say, ooh, it's all energy, and somehow I could just harness it and move it and take it and borrow it for some time and then let it free. Yeah, that's what it is. So we're going to start talking about some things that limit that in our bodies. Certainly those negative emotions are one of the first things that shrink, limit the flow of energy on those channels. Depression, negative thoughts, whatever else you want to think about it, any negative emotion, I can't, importance, extreme importance on anything. I can't, I'm not enough, I don't know, I can't this, I can't that. All those things, they say that not too long ago, everybody had the ability to manifest anything with ease. And we lost that ability. And most of the times it's because pendulums, remember that word from chapter 2? Pendulums make sure that we give all energy to them. We're always thinking about, how am I going to give to them? I have to do this. I have to do this for my country. I should do this. Good people do this, and I have to be good people or whatever, you know? So we're wasting our energy. We're giving it away. We're losing the power. So pendulums suck our energy. Negative emotions suck our energy. And remember, usually pendulums have a lot to do in how small we are. Well, you're just this. You're supposed to just do that. Stay there. So we actually do that, and we shrink the power of our energy, okay? Next big thing is muscle tension. So some of us are like, in different ways. So a big art is to somehow learn to, right? So in a few minutes, we're gonna go through a practice to go put all this stuff together. That's really cool, okay? But it's the art of, because the more we can relax, the more we allow the flow of energy. Instead of having all that contraction somehow holds the energy tight in places. So a big part of the practice is to scan our body, to relax it and allow it to, allow the energy to flow. Why? Because we wanna master the energy of manifestation, you know. The smaller our energy is, the smaller the chances of manifesting anything in life with ease. Because then it takes a lot longer. You have to work physiologically harder to achieve it. Beautiful. Is it clear so far? Any questions? Any doubts? This sounds like too, well, sounds funny. Any doubts? Any? I'd love to hear. Any questions? It must be something that kind of, you know, cool. If there are, make sure this is a conversation. I want to make sure that
I have a mentor who talks about the free energy. He uses different words for it, though. He talks about bound energy and unbound energy. And I see the unbound energy as being the free energy, and binding energy takes effort. That's what we put work into. But if we can access the unbound energy, then we're accessing the flow of the universe. Yeah. So I hadn't heard the concept of widening the meridians, but it makes sense. You want more flow and the flow in both directions. So that was a really beautiful one, the way you described that.
Thank you. It's what I feel as you share. Thank you, Helen. It reminds me that words have a different meaning for all of us. But the more you study, Helen, which is what you just shared, it's all the same thing. When you start going into any theory of anything, the way of doing this, it's essentially the same thing. It's like religions. They all give a different name to the same thing. right? It's the same thing. They all fight that you're right, but it's the same thing. Once you can say, I understand, thank you, and you honor what somebody else believes. I'm bound, meridians, hold it free. It's the same thing, beautiful. And that's the art is precisely the same. What's the translation? It reminds me of this integral theory. Have you heard about it? Integral theory is this guy, I'll share with you because it's just fascinating. Is this guy that spent Ken Wilber, I think is his name. He spent his life going through all the different theories and trying to overlap them and see where they all kind of make sense, and the common grounds for all of them. And it's amazing once you recognize that, we all speak, different languages and different words, but they all overlap so much. It's the same thing. And if we somehow could get rid of our head that wants to understand and wants to prove that we're right, and we just said, that's the reading, right? With the heart that understands way beyond that, and we know we're all speaking the same thing. So it's beautiful. Thank you, Helen. Yes. So it's all about how to harness, that unbound energy, or that energy that we really haven't even claimed that we have access to. I love that example somewhere in the book. He says, and referring to the wanting to accumulate energy, because we come from that concept, right? I want to have more money because I have more money than this. So if I have more energy, I can, But he says it's like if you're in a lake, open your mouth and hold the water in your mouth, so it's not gonna disappear, right? That's silly. So imagine it's the same, like trying to hold energy to be stronger. I know how to keep it here in my body or in my space. It's something like that. It's smarter and wiser to know how to keep wider channels, so at any given time you can use it at will, because we all have access to that. We all do. So that's the beauty of it. He reminds us of
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question in regards to the energies, and you talked about different types of energies. I have a personal challenge in keeping in positive flow of energy when there's external family members and people in business that are real huge energy vampires. And I'm having a huge challenge in trying to either, create some kind of a shield to deflect all of that negative energy, or come to some kind of, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. But, I work so hard to stay positive and up, and I can acknowledge their whatever issues that they're ranting on about, but at the same time, I feel at the end of it so totally depleted. And
beautiful.
Yeah, so
that's a fantastic question.
I would love to have that magic wand to just say, zap, you're now positive too.
Well, you remember pendulums?
Yeah.
Remember some of our it's good to, this is great. I'm going to say some things, and then I want to hear from everybody else's experiences, what they do in those cases. So keep those in mind, write them down, make sure you share, because this is for all of us to learn from each other. So you brought the next part, which is energy vampires. It's easier to steal energy from a human because it's already in a human vibration, a human frequency. So some of those people that you're talking about, the bullies, the rough guys, the one of it, all those, that's how they thrive. They thrive on getting energy from people that are weaker or they're susceptible to those things. Okay? That's the typical definition of a vampire. You just mentioned it. Those guys that like to make you feel terrible or minimize you so you feel, or remind you of your guilt and your all these terrible things, or your sorrows or what you did wrong, whatever. So in that way you go down and they suck on that. It's like, yeah, delicious, feel worse. you all should feel even worse. And I'm getting all that energy, you know? So
This isn't more-
energy,
Sorry, this isn't what I was sharing with. It's not coming from bullies or people intentionally stealing the energy or grabbing for the energy. It's just coming from sources that are really deep in a negative place in
Right.
your life.
Right.
And it's chronic complaining, chronic, blaming the world for everything.
yes,
And it's like a trying to be compassionate and acknowledge, where what they're trying to complain about or share about. But at the same time, I feel like, it's just so overwhelming.
yes.
Yeah.
So thank you. And thank you for bringing me back to that. So many times when I give these examples, I make them different and sillier just for the example. But yes, you could put it in any other area. A negative person that's all the time there, claiming for energy, poor me, and all this other stuff, the secondary gain. They are vampires. They're really sucking energy in any way they can. You remember there are 3 types of vampires. One is called the stealthy, which is intrusive. They just on purpose go there and punch you and they get your energy. That's the bully. But there's also the manipulator, which is kind of the one you mentioned, the one that figures out a story, to then open up a lot of things on us. Okay. And then there's the provocateur, as they call it. Okay, that makes a direct assault or it starts asking questions. Anyway, the way they sneak into us to steal our energy is the way. But the ultimate intention is to suck energy. Now, the question that you posed is what to do about it. Okay, so yes, a shield of energy, unfortunately, does not do it. Because the moment, even though we're going to go over some ways to remember how to harness, how to have access to this beautiful energy, how to expand our energy field, okay, that still is not good enough because our energy is they know how to act, they're experts. So they know how to, over time, this person that has been complaining as being on negative energy, they know that when they do that, somebody like you that's so sensitive will fall into it. And the moment you fall into it, your energy gets given without you, even though you don't want to, it goes there. Okay. So, and I'm saying this just because that's the next point that he wants to teach us, is that no matter what your practices are, that doesn't work. So then the what to do, 1, awareness. Awareness, awareness, awareness. That's what you said. Wow, there you go. That's Jack doing the same thing he always does. So awareness. The second thing is importance. Importance, okay? And there's a concept there that we talked in Accelerate Evolution, which is the book right now, I can't remember the name, but it's something like somehow, somewhere is the dark side, it's our dark side. Somehow, somewhere, what they do, we do. There's a part of us that has that negativity, and that's why it resonates so much with us. That's why it attracts us. Let me give you another example. If somebody was outside your house right now saying stupid things, you wouldn't care for it because you're like, I don't care. Things that we don't connect with don't bother us. It's called shadow work. That's the word. Shadow side. Thank you, Heidi. It's the shadow. It's our shadows. So here comes a very powerful concept for all of us in life. When something bothers us or something, we cannot get rid of something that bothers us, is because somehow we have that on us. And I'm saying it lovingly, and I'm saying just for awareness and for teaching. It says, ooh, in what part of my life and what aspect of my life I do that, And this is not to say, ooh, and beat ourselves. It's just to recognize that. Because the moment you start recognizing that, like, then you start, that awareness, it starts giving you freedom, and And then you do whatever you need to do, which is different for all of us. Some people will just detach from that at a given moment. Some people will have extreme compassion and love for that person. And we just learn that simple concept, right? It says, no, thank you. I'm not interested in this, and I'm moving away, instead of diving and doing whatever it is that we tend to do because we're not aware that somehow we're compatible with that, or that part of us resonates, and that's why we connect. So those are some of the concepts that come up. And the reason I brought pendulums is because pendulums do a lot of that stuff. Remember, pendulums they know how to trigger us. Pendulums work on, right now, what are some of the pendulums that we hear? Oh, we should all be good. We should all be open. We should work for our country. We are the best, so we should go for it, So that person is not doing what they should be doing. That's how they grab us. And we start saying, oh, yeah. And then we start saying, yeah, we should go and fight them. We should go and do it, whatever. No, we're giving our energy away, right? So why is this important? Because an important concept is to recognize that everybody has the right to exist as a good pendulum. Every pendulum, every person has the right to exist. Whatever they are, however they're doing it, is just beautiful in their own ways. And it's an art for all of us to say, wow, this person is in his own path, in his or her own path of evolution. And he or she is doing whatever she thinks she needs to do. I honor that. Okay, now my question is, do I want to be involved with this, or allow it to hit me or take my energy, or not? Awareness. And then we choose something. And if it happens to be, here comes the trick. Oh, this is a bad one. If it happens to be your mother or your father or somebody you're stuck with because you're tied to your umbilical cord, it's more painful. But it's the practice. Cindy and I have this little thing. I always tell her, are you going to your dojo today? She's going to meet somebody that she loves, right? That it just happens to be painful to deal with, right? And it's dear and close, and she cannot, say no. Then you said, I joke just to remind her, is the awareness. Are you going to your dojo session? Today you'll be learning God knows what. You're going to be punch and hit and all this stuff. And the artist to say, oh, I'm mastering this. I'm mastering the art of knowing how to let all these kicks and punches that this person is throwing, because that's all she knows. Or he knows, not to give you a hint, that's all he knows. That's my dad, the way I relate to my dad, after he's on his 80s, believe me, but nobody's going to change him. Me expecting to change my dad at this time, and he won't say, you, son, you don't do this, you're not this. And imagine if I still feel like, he's grabbing me, and I still feel it. Don't take me wrong. It still hits me, okay? Because this is decades of playing with this, right? But that's the art. That's when I recognize, oh, it's Dad doing his things. I honor him. I love him the way he is. And the moment I can really, really, truly do that, which is not easy all the time, then the things just go, and it's a game. Remember, then I don't react to it. I'm proactive. Then I play with it, and I love him. And we do what they do in Aikido. They throw a punch at you, and you just grab it, and you move it, and you let it go someplace else, and you're gentle, and then you start dancing with the moves. So I know every experience is different, but the art, I gave you some of the hints. Awareness, recognizing that something on this person is triggering something on you, and being open enough to say, oh, look at that. And then working on it, and then loving this person from that place and loving him or her dearly. And then just choose what to do. That's going to be your call. You're going to go and try to help if you need to, or there's no need for it because you don't want to waste any more energy you've tried for the past 40 years, or just completely detach from that person. But I'll stay there because that's the theory part of this RT. And I want to hear some suggestions. I know this is not new. We all struggle with this situation. So ladies, I want to hear you come up with some down-to-earth suggestions to Danielle on what to do when you're dealing with somebody that is, the way they behave, it drains you. Sounds like Susan wants to say something.
Sure. So what I do is I actually get bigger in my energy. I get bigger than them. And if they are like sucking my energy or something, I'm like, okay, here. And I still have lots of energy left over. And I just love them. And who, again, my mother is one of those people that really lets me practice this, because when she shows up, I have to do that. And what I find is like my son, when he used to play hockey, these men would come up to me and say, "You intimidate me." And I'm like, "Oh dear, they got too close." So I get bigger in my energy, and they would just go away. And I would just, because my energy was big, and they just didn't know what to do with me. That's a great way for me to get rid of people who are a problem for me.
Thank you.
And I love them too, regardless of what they're up to. So because of that, again, they don't know what to do with it.
We're going to practice how to increase our energy soon, Daniela. So we're not going to leave you there. I love to hear this, Karen. I'm sure you have some suggestions. Or your way, just share your way of dealing with it, because down to earth, it helps.
Mostly now I don't have many of those people left. COVID's been a bit of a blessing for that. Sorry, I can't see you. There's a pandemic. It's like I do still have to call my mother. I'm so glad that my daughters obviously don't have the problem that we're all having. But yeah, it's just, I found that most of those people, annoying people, are falling away. And then if I do feel like this is going to sound absolutely horrible, but a charity visit with one of them, I just kind of make it a walk, put an end time on it, and you be very, very clear. Like, when there's one lady who actually lives quite near to me now, if I want to see her, I'll say I'm available from this time to this time. And if she's not able to control and extend it, she'll often cancel. So that's fantastic. So it's just those boundaries. And then, I do have to call my mom every now and then and hear about how the nurses are trying to kill her, and nod to myself, think, yes, they probably are. But it's, don't know if any of that's helpful.
That's great, Carrie.
Boundary. Julia, I know you have something smart. Yeah, I know also.
Because what comes to me for me is to.
It sounds muffled. Your microphone is hiding somewhere.
How is this? Is this better?
Yeah, much better.
Fabulous. Oh, thank you. Okay, cool. So what often works for me is to bring attention back to myself. Feel the sensations in my body, validate the feelings in my body. And sometimes I need to be away from the person in question to do this. So take the space for myself, feel myself, feel that everything that I feel is completely valid, and offer myself self-compassion. Like there's that Kristen Neff self-compassion break, which is really helpful. And that tends for me to move it more easily and get me less freaked out, because I'm focusing on the other person and more focusing on myself, kind of in a cocoon of my own power.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. And Carrie reminded me too, Daniela, the more that you do this work, the more that you do work on yourself, the more you scare other people. They just don't come into your frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember that.
Right.
The more you start, the more you do the work and you resonate at different frequency, inevitably those people just don't come into your life. Mm-hmm. Somebody shares something, I'm forgetting who, I think.
Unfortunately, though, that the one main person lives with me. And
Yes.
It's my adult child.
Yes.
So it makes it that much more of a challenge, because I want to help, but at the same time, like, my energy is so depleted in trying to be acknowledging and comforting and helpful, and running around to all these appointments, trying to get them where they need to be. So yeah, I can't just turn it
I'll
off.
ask you a practical question, a true question. I don't know.
Mhm.
Your son, you said, right?
Yeah.
Your child. Can he or she take care of herself if she was by herself?
No. That's the main issue. Is, you know, she's 23, but she's not able to cope. And there's a lot of health issues and mental health issues, physical issues, dental issues. It's just a lot.
Right, right. And okay. So so there's a lot of things. I don't know. Do you do any A? Do you know A, accelerated evolution stuff? You don't know any, right? Okay. Well, you may consider, you probably should consider, you know, looking for some coaching. All the people in the warrior stage, most of the people in the warrior stage have done some accelerated evolution. So I feel, and I'm saying this wholeheartedly, I feel that there is a lot of emotions, you know, in your relationship with your child, that if you could work on those, will make it a lot easier to do the work that needs to be done to help your kid, okay, without feeling all that extra energy that's being diffused. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So whatever way you feel that you could work on some of your inner challenges, so in other words, there's a part of you that thinks that you're guilty for what's happening. There's somehow, I'm using the word guilt, but don't count me on the guilt. There's a part of you that feels something about what's happening, and that's why whatever you do this gets multiplied, and then the drainage is powerful. So it'll be a good idea for you to consider working with somebody, you know, some of them are even in this circle, you know, and work on that stuff, so then you can free yourself from that, and then just do the work that needs to be done with more ease.
Mhm.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so let's move on. Thank you. I hope, did that help? Listening from different people and.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, everybody.
Good. Okay. So I think.
I think Helen had something she wanted to share.
Yeah, she looked like. Okay.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Good. I think I'm going to stop there because I want Cindy to take us through how this works. Let's get some practices, a whole bunch of things all together that we got from the chapter, and put them in a nice little order. It's just a suggested sequence, okay, for you to practice and consider which one works best for you. So we'll play it together, but she's the one that's gonna lead us to this. So take it from here, Cindy. What's the practice? How should we work on our energy to?
Thanks, Juan. So what we want to do is increase our energy levels in order to increase the power of external intention, right? Which equals what? Manifestation. So what we do is we're going to tap into the currents that pass through our body. And these are the meridians that we're talking about that Juan was telling us about earlier. So we have meridians in our bodies. And the way it works is that we have these meridians. Okay. And so the energy that flows through our body, when the energy comes in an upward direction through our body, it's an area, our meridian is right in front of our spine. And in men, this area is 1 inch in front of the spine. And in women, it's 2 inches in front of the spine. And so what happens is when we have this energy coming upward, it's in that area, 1 or 2 inches in front of the spine. And then when this energy goes downward through our body, it just comes right very close to the spine. Okay. So here's how this works. So what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you how to increase the energy in your body, in your self. So what we basically do first is we relax, we close our eyes. So let's do this together. Okay. So close your eyes and relax your entire body as best you can right now. And what I want you to do is feel the surface area of your body and connect with that. Your skin, all the surface area of your body. And just connect with that for a moment. And now allow yourself to relax into that, because the amount of free energy that you have depends upon the width of your central meridians. And so here's the idea: the wider your meridians are, the greater your energy level will be. So you're sitting in your chair upright, taking a deep breath in, and as you breathe in and imagine, feel or imagine this light, this energy going up in front of your spine, a couple inches for everyone except for Juan. He has this 1 inch in front of his spine. And this energy is going up through the meridian, which is right in front of your spine, a couple inches, from the earth all the way up through your spine into the sky. And then as you let the exhale come, then this energy or this light will go down through that meridian, which is directly in front of your spine. And allow this energy to go up and down your spine as you inhale and exhale. And it can go up and down independent of whether you're inhaling or exhaling as well. So don't make it be dependent upon the breath, but just feel into this. And if you can feel it, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just imagine it, that this energy is going up and down through those meridians, up 2 inches in front of your spine, down directly in front of your spine. And now what you do is imagine as this energy is flowing up through the meridian in front of your spine a couple inches, as it goes through the top of your spine and up, up, up. It actually forms into like a fountain. This energy is creating, imagine a fountain above your head, and it's just above you as much as you want to make it above you. And this energy is coming around as a fountain, and then it's flowing back down through your meridian, right directly in front of your spine, down, down, down into the earth. And again, imagine an upside down fountain flowing that energy back upwards. And it actually can, imagine it's almost like a bubble around you. This energy is flowing up through your meridian and then flowing around like a fountain, and then back down through the other meridian, and flowing down through your meridian, down into the earth, through that fountain, and then coming back up again. And you have this circle around you, these fountains up above you and below you, and you're circulating this energy up through your meridian, down through your meridian. And you can do this at any time of the day. Just imagine it and feel into it. Feel the flow of that energy. Feel it. Breathe into it. Practice this with intention. And this again increases your energy level to increase the power of your external intention, which then translate into manifestation of your dreams. Can you feel it? Good. Okay. Do we have any questions on this? Yes, Susan.
Is that similar to a Taurus, T-O-R-U-S?
Taurus, Taurus. Actually,
Tell me more.
yeah.
So a torus is in all the cells, it's in every part of us, and it flows out like that, like and it all joins together, and it sort of looks like an apple. You know how an apple comes in, and so in every cell in every being we have this torus, which is energy. So I was wondering, like you're talking about the meridian line, so I don't know.
It probably is. The way it works, if I could put a graphic, is imagine from here all the way down to my perineal area, there is a line, right? Just in front of my back. Imagine this light. When I practice this, I practice a line that's going all the way from the sky, crossing here, going down and going down to the earth, right? And initially I used to see it as a little hose, all right? So I see the light going up and down. And for me, because I need to feel that, I imagine with the breathing. And down, up and down. But then what Cindy taught us is once it comes out of my head, then I make it feel like a fountain. Like a fountain. So now I'm surrounded by this fountain, one going down and the other one going up. Right?
Yeah.
You know, so here comes the interesting thing. As we keep practicing this, then you just don't limit yourself to a small hose. You just make it bigger and wider. And the more you can start to feel it, eventually you don't just have to keep imagining it. Eventually with practice, you start noticing something more as you become more aware of it. You notice that you're opening to the flow of those energies, and then the size, that's what they call the size gets bigger, but it's really a flow that goes up, emanates and goes around. So close your eyes. Make sure you relax. Remember I mentioned initially muscle relaxation? Imagine you scan yourself. You get one of those scanners and start from your head, the top of your head, and imagine, start scanning your forehead. Is your forehead tight? Are your eyes tight? What about your nose, your cheeks, your jaws? Your neck. Imagine you're going with one of those scanners. Is there any tension? Shoulders. Your chest muscles somehow tense. Are you holding your breath? Are you breathing too tight? Just relax it as you go down. Be aware of your breath with ease. What about your belly? Are your muscles tight or gone? What about your back? How's your back telling you, giving you signals? All those tension there are holding how the energy is flowing through you. Your hip, is your hip all tight? Or your cheek, or your ass? Sorry, perineal area, hips, thighs, knees, legs. What about toes? Or your shoulders, arms, elbows? Just make sure you're aware of how relaxed you are. And then connect with your skin. Become aware of the surface of your skin. Now from this place, practice what Cindy just taught us. Imagine those energy flows or lights of whatever you want to call it, in front of your spine going up and down. And then that beautiful energy, those beautiful fountains surrounding you now, going up and down, whatever way you imagine them, they're so perfect. And I see them crashing, and I see them flowing. So like a big circle around you, half circles, like a core of an apple, they'll say, whatever works for you. Just feel the flow. Feel how it flows through you as you relax. Just remember, be aware of relaxing your body. And now, as you're aware of all these flows, and you make sure that your body's relaxed, and you're aware of the skin, the surface of your skin, now try this one. Pretend you start stretching your skin, the surface of your skin, all the way up to where the fountains meet, all the way to that area, that circle, that the fountains form. Could you expand your awareness? Could you expand your skin, the awareness of your body to the fountains? So now your energy field is bigger. You see, Daniela, that's how you start harboring, creating energy, increasing energy. You let it flow, so you recognize that you're way powerful. And then you expand it beyond just your awareness of your body to that area as big as you want it or as small as you want it. You're in charge. Make it just a few feet away from you. What if these fountain energies are just all the way up to the room? They go from wall to wall, and that's what it is. Play with it. And what if you expand your awareness and suddenly you know what's in the room because you kind of sense the energy of everything in your room? Tables, the chairs around, the computer, anything else. What if you expand that awareness even to the town that you're in? That's what we play with: awareness, energy, expansion. What if now you make it bigger, as much as you want? What if somehow the universe, not the universe, the earth is just one more part of you? You just expand even bigger than that. What if we're all there? What if somehow you feel me and you feel everybody else in this call, all connected, and we feel this energy fields? You see the game? You see the practice? How big or small you want it to be. And then open your eyes. And somehow keep that awareness. Keep that awareness of your channels. Keep that awareness of the channels going up and down and some kind of fountain in front of you or surrounding you as big as you want. And your awareness of expansion. Just feel in the room that you are.
The wider,
for you to practice anywhere. What was that?
wider your meridians, the more energy you have.
Yeah.
And when I practice this, I practice with the energy going up, and my fountain is up on top of the earth. And the energy is coming all the way across this fountain, across the earth, and then coming back down and through me, down, down, down through into the other end of the earth, to the bottom side of the earth, down by Australia, the other side of the world. So thank you, Juan.
From this place, now focus on your slide, on your goals. Whatever you want for others, Daniel. See it all down, see it all beautiful. See, here, from this place is where magic happens. The slides is just a 4D version of whatever what you want. Let's say what I was talking about, you want a house, just to keep it simple, then you imagine from this place, then you see yourself in that house, already living in that house that you want, or in the relationship that you want, or the interaction that you want. Like I would probably, I'm going to incorporate this since we're connecting right now. Keep your awareness of your flows, of your meridians. Keep it there. It doesn't have to be with your eyes closed. You could just imagine it going up and down. Some of you feel it because you're very good with that. Some of us need to imagine it. Keep the awareness. One last part on this chapter, and you should read it, talks about induced transition. Remember, induced transition is thoughts, beliefs, things that push us into believing some things. So, for example, the thought of illness, right? So some of us buy into the illness world. I'm a doctor, right? So I'm into that deeply. But I'm in the healing pattern. I'm not a sick person. I'm a healer. You won't buy me into feeling this sick. Rarely I get trapped by it. But a lot of people say I'm sick. And in the book, he says, well, what if you just say, I'm healing, I'm recovering, I'm getting better? You see the difference? So a suggestion that comes, I'm talking to Daniela, is see how your kid is getting better with all this incredible love that you have. he or she is getting better every day, slowly but surely, because that love that you harbor, that energy that you're throwing, is getting better to move on. Use that, and you see it all happening, and you enjoy it, and you love it, and you celebrate, and you give thanks to whoever you believe on, the great, we call it the great one, on how this healing is happening and the recovery is happening every minute. Everything is getting better. How and where and when, and it doesn't matter. You just enjoy the celebration that all these things are happening, as done, as already achieved. And you drop all the, but he's or she's, but I don't have the money, but I cannot afford it, but I'm not strong, smart, whatever it is enough. No, you just drop all the stuff that's dropping importance. You see it all achieved, and you honor it. And there's one more concept lost in that gold chapter. We've talked about it before in intention, which is accepting defeat. That's the ultimate dropping of importance, is when you say, universe, I don't know why sometimes you do all these crazy things. God, I call it God. Gee, whatever. I don't know why the freaking COVID thing, but there must be something good in the big picture for all this stuff. And as such, I acknowledge it. And I surrendered to that. Yet, I have the intention to stay healthy. Intention to have is the will to be healthy and then take actions to stay healthy no matter what, independent of whatever I think, I see, I believe, or I've been struggling with. It's not about her. She's not ready. It's about you. Remember what who told her that as she changed, Helen, as she's been going through these things, somebody that used to be very troubled, now it's change. And what happens, Daniela, is that there is a part, there is a universe, there's a sector where your kid is perfect in every way that you can imagine, okay? But right now, the level that the frequency that we're in might not appear to be. The moment I change my frequency by doing the work or whatever it is, then somehow I move into a space where that same person with all the multifaceted aspects and presentations appears different. Does it make sense? It's a beauty of reality transurfing. It's a concept that took me a long time. All these envelopes, all these are envelopes. Some have debts, some have checks, some have whatever I want to call it. At any given time of my reality, there's one on top. That's what reality transurfing is. The art of reality transurfing is being able to move at will, like the magician, into a level that we want to be. A level where maybe your dear beloved one is behaving in some way that you would like it to be. And if that is aligned, this is the trick. That's the art, the mastery that we're talking about. If that is aligned with your heart and with your mind and with some things of reality, because reality is there, then magic happens. Does it make sense? But for that, we work on ourselves, we work on our energy, we work on our kinks, our challenges. Because as long as we can work in our challenges, it's going to be very difficult to move. Because something is always going to hold us. And I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Shares, last minute shares.
I'm just thinking, with all the work that I've done and through the accelerated evolution over the years, my son was on heroin and all sorts of things. And I had to work on me. And the more I worked on me and I saw him as that part that wasn't him, no, that part that I knew was him, that child that I loved. And I just kept saying, I'm looking at my child coming back, this other person. And now, after a couple of years, he's back. He's him again. So I know it works.
But you said the key word, Susan. Thank you for that share, because it comes from experience. I can give you the theory, but the experience brings it all. Okay, so that's beautiful. That's the idea. If I change, my world change. It's just crazy. There's a world, Daniela, where if you move into the world, you'll see me doing the funkiest, craziest things. And then Carrie's also doing all kind of crazy. It's just, we all have all these, at any given time, there's so many variations of everything, and everything is so possible. The art is to choose where we want to be, and the art is to know how to master that manifestation, you know. But for that, we need to work on ourselves, which is what Sue just said. Yeah, we all have all these things that keeps us where we are, you know, and as long as we're not aware and we don't work on some of those, we'll be trapped. Thank you. I love that, Susan. Julia, any last thoughts, comments, shares, wins?
Yeah, I loved that energy meridian exercise. That felt profound. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Carrie?
The most beautiful thing about this transition I've just made from my home to here is that I had both my girls do it with me. They packed, they helped move, they built IKEA furniture. And Daniela, I was thinking of you because a year ago, my eldest daughter and I were not even speaking, and the obscenities she would throw my direction were unbelievable. But with a mixture of work and counseling and maturity too, probably, to see them here, it was just the biggest delight. To watch them giggling with each other while they were building Billy bookcases was actually the most beautiful part of this whole move. Manifesting the best relationship with my daughters is probably the biggest gift of last year.
So happy for you, Carrie.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Alan?
The sentence that I like is, if reducing importance is not possible, there is no point in wasting energy trying. And that's been, I remember a point in my journey where I started to recognize the power struggles I was in with people, and then just choosing not to engage. Just no amount of energy was going to solve the power struggle. So it was just that stepping out, making that choice of not wasting my energy. Yeah, I really like that sentence.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy?
I just had a fabulous time tonight here with everyone. I'm so glad you all are here joining us. The thing about the energy, the meridians and everything, I mean, we can do this at any time, anywhere. Every morning when I wake up, I remember to open the meridians and bring that energy through, and it's just a fabulous way to start the day.
Beautiful. Thank you. And for me, it's excitement and gratitude, and I love your shares. I love you participate. I love the transformation that I'm seeing in all of you, and the inspiration that you are for everybody else, that it can be done, that this is not just theory, it happens. Okay. And so let's keep the work. Satyen before says he's read this book multiple times. Me too. And the main reason I'm here is because when I read it and reread it and I talk about it, I learn, I grab another concept, I apply something. And when I hear you applying it and hear your experiences, and oh my goodness, then it really gets deeper. So Daniela, there's so much work to do sometimes, and sometimes it's just so easy. Sometimes you need this one little thing and boom, magic happens. So drop importance. In other words, to make this a big thing or a rough thing, that's probably the word for tonight. Just drop importance. Keep it easy. Be grateful. Love you. Next 2 weeks or so, next second Tuesday of February,
February
chapter
11th.
12 is frailing. Frailing, beautiful. Frailing, you may remember frailing refers to the basic core frequency of every being. and being able to connect with that of every being, the essence, okay, and what it means. Because we're going to start diving into something extremely powerful in the art of mastering manifestation, okay? When we connect with somebody's frail, you know, and help them, then crazy things happen. So I hope that gets you excited about reading it so we can really dive into it and all explore and get some good nuggets out of it. And again, remember, this is all for all of us, right? It's not to keep for us, it's for the good of everybody else, because we're on this transiently. It's been a pleasure. Love you all. Looking forward to seeing you. Yep, chapter 12.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chapter 12.
Ah,
Thank you very
Ellen.
much. This was great.
Yeah.
You will again. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
Bye, folks.
bye. Good night.